Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, summer edition 2025. I believe it is the 5th of August, and it is Tips Tuesday. Tips Tuesday. Tips Tuesday usually is not my longest video, so that helps. Try to keep it short and simple, right, for tips. If you've watched me for a while, you know my videos are not short. I would like to get them down to about 15 minutes. That would be optimal for me. A friend of mine was talking about, well, maybe you should consider pre-doing them, like finding out what you're going to do and take the notes and do the stuff and, write out some bullet points. Especially when I get lost in my thought. That would take a whole lot of time outside of 15 minutes to prepare. And then it would have me overthinking everything in my head while I'm doing it, to where it's like, okay, what was I going to say about this? I can't remember. I forgot. And I would sit there with this. Well, I do that now, but it would take me even longer to bring my mind back to where it needs to be. So there's some things that my brain has to respond to regularly in order for me to do that. And part of the fun is that I have no clue what I'm going to say before I hit go. It's just... Where's the fun of plans? All right. All jest aside, planning is important in life. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is a phrase I've heard a lot. And so I have witnessed it on a regular occasion. And that chipmunk is still digging up my cilantro. Not happy with that little critter. So, there's a big mess and a pot with dirt all around and roots exposed. Oh! Yeah, so there's those sidetractions too. Alright, so, Tips Tuesday. I have to give you a tip that I would be able to follow. And I'm debating about this, at least getting an outline. That would mean I would know what I'm going to talk about. And if I know what I'm going to talk about, I'd have to have my bullet points. And if I know my bullet points, then I would have to have, it almost sounds like if you give a mouse a cookie. Be planned when you plan to overplan, and be in awareness that there's going to be a whole lot more effort into the plan. Sometimes it's good to just jump both feet in and take it as it comes. But other times, the planning is well worth it. So I'm thinking about maybe, just maybe, planning once a week. One of my weekly things to do, that I plan it out. Maybe Tips Tuesday. Maybe Thirsty Thinking Thursday, because I have to put some thought into it. Not sure how I'm going to go with that yet. However, it would behoove me to at least ponder the idea. To try it out. To taste and see. 1 week. One day out of the week. Write down something. Even if it's not well researched, like I'm big into liking to research something, but I usually do not have that type of time to just go in and delve, and I have less than a month left before I go back to work. Meaning my paid job at the school. That does not mean that I am not working now. I'm just not getting paid for it. I'm not working as hard because the whole point of summer break is to give myself a break. I'm not as young as I used to be. So there are some things that, need to take place for rest in order to have energy for later. So there's all sorts of pylons. We'll call them pylons. All sorts of pylons that have to be laid out and secured before we build this foundation of planning change for my morning view. So my tip for you today is, if you are one not to plan a little bit. Just see how it feels. See how the glove fits. It might not fit at all. Or maybe you need to grow into it. Or maybe it feels tight, but it grows with you. It stretches with you. So before I go, I just want to give you my commercial to make sure you go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison. Mona E. Harrison on YouTube, different than my Facebook profile. And subscribe. Like, share, comment, hit notifications, get all the bells and whistles. And do all those things here on Facebook too. Comment, like, share if you find the content is valuable. Yes, sometimes it's more eloquent than others, and sometimes it's just all over the place. I'm not perfect. I don't expect to be perfect. I tell you all the time, this is the R-E-A-L, not the R-E-E-L. And so, with that, sometimes it's a little chunky. But sometimes it is like a word well said. So I'm contemplating this, at least write down some bullet points, get a subject matter, write out some bullet points, maybe say one sentence about each of those bullet points, and then see where it goes from there. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I don't see my morning view as a thing to look at as success, nor do I see it as a thing to fail. It's just a space for me to speak, whether it's eloquent or not eloquent. Moses did not have eloquent words. He argued with God about going to Egypt to speak because he wasn't a speaker. Maltillus stuttered, but when he sang, you would never know it. Maltillus used both sides of his brain. They did a study on me when I was in college, back when I was young. Different than when I was going to college when I was younger. Young and younger are two different things. Younger is older than young. And they discovered that I used both sides of my brain. Right now, I try to use a portion of my brain and hope for it to get stronger and stronger daily. Working on memory, working on focus, working on all those things that the illness took. And so for me to plan and to focus on studying. Most of my morning views are just me recalling my memory. It's a memory builder. It's something that helps my brain to pull out some of those things out of the drawers, to dust some of those things off. So for me, it's a memory builder. It's an exercise. It's not the only thing. I don't plan on having eloquent words when I do plan. But it's something to think about. Take one day out of the week. One day. And do a planned morning view. All right. That's all I got for you today. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. Tomorrow, come back for Thankful, Wonderful Wednesday. So, Wonderful Wednesday is the day that I give thanks and gratitude to the Lord and giving back His space for what He gives for me the rest of the week, which is a place to sound my voice. God's given me a voice, and Wednesday I thank Him for it. How He's giving me a voice may change. How I voice that may change. But I'm still going to be real. R-E-A-L. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. What was my tip today? Plan. Plan, even if it's just a little bit. And if you are an over-planner, ditch the plans. Ditch the plans and be spontaneous for a moment. Just once. Once a week. Be spontaneous. But if you're not a planner, if you're always running on the spontaneous, plan something. Make a plan this week. Stick to the plan. All right. Blessings. Have a great day.